it would be an honorable thing to start with our national anthem. And then we do it the proper Namibian way. We at least ask everyone to rise. So we start our national anthem. I'm not the best singer, but I'll try to I'll try to lead. Please follow. Namibia.
Freedom, that's our freedom. We give our love and loyalty together in unity. For trust, the beautiful Namibia, Namibia, our country. They love the land of Savannah, hold out the banner of liberty. Namibia, our country. Namibia, our land. We love you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sisi. My name is Catherine Shipushu. I am a proud Namibian, first and foremost. I am also employed by the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, and it's an honor to be the Master of Ceremonies for this very first session in Namibia House at COP28. I would like to recognize the presence of our Honorable Minister, Shimi, Minister of Finance and Public Enterprises. Thank you very much for being with us this morning, Honorable Minister. I would like to recognize the presence of different CEOs, our lead agency, the Environmental Investment Fund, Mr. Benedict Ibanda. We also have one of our key sponsors, who is Dr. Wazi, Namibian Agronomic Board, Mr. Hanson Lanskaping from NIPP, the World Food Program. I saw Dr. Welcome, Doctor. Thank you very much for joining us. And also our key stakeholders. I know we have some of our panel that are here this morning, our team and our partners from Gulf Blue who are also joining us this morning. We are expecting other Namibians and other stakeholders to join us later as the day progresses. This is our very first session. Welcome to Namibia House, COP28. This is a place where Namibia is going to present our ambition in the world space. Exciting developments that we have lined up in the next 2 weeks, and I think the first panel is really going to set the tone of what we can expect from Namibia at COP28 this morning. So without much further ado, we were expecting His Excellency, the President, Dr. Hadi Dingo, to be with us this morning, but unfortunately he's not able to make it due to some protocol measures. But he did indicate that he will be visiting the house, Namibia House, later today, as soon as his official duties here are complete. In the meantime, we carry on with the program. As the saying goes, the show must go on. We are very excited to start the journey at COP28 today. It's our first session. And to officially kick us off, we are honored once again to have Honorable Minister. If you can please come up and just say a few words as we kick off our journey here at COP28. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Catherine. And let me extend on the protocol that he has already established and say good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us in the Namibian House, the Namibian Pavilion. We are excited that you would make it. I believe you make this your home throughout the summit because this is really where you belong. As she has already announced that our president, the Excellency was supposed to be here, but due to some protocol arrangement. So we really want to thank you for being here, and this is really our channels of marketing in Namibia to the world. And for all of us who are here, we must tell the Namibian story. We are here to announce to the world that we have ambitious plans. All Namibia. If you look at our NDCs, our NDCs are quite ambitious in terms of reducing our carbon footprints, helping the climate, to improve. But we also not only have our own interest in terms of reducing our carbon footprint, but we also want to contribute to making the world a better place. Part of our ambitious plans is basically to produce green energy or green products that is going to help the climate to become the planet become more livable, more conducive for the humankind. So in the area of renewable energy, in the area of green industrialization, we have ambitious plans as well. And this is not only for our own interest, but it's also for the interest of our own region to decarbonize our region, but also for the interest of the whole world to decarbonize the world and reach net zero targets by 2050. So I believe the program that we're going to have here throughout the summit, the discussion that we're going to have here are also going to help us to explore different options, how to make Namibia first of all a better place, but also how to make the world a better place. So we're looking forward to the different discussions we're going to have here, and the panel discussion that is going to take place. So those who are on the panel, congratulations, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your kind and welcoming words. I think we'll get right into it. And to start off our first session, I call upon Francois Fastape to introduce the panel, and then we get started.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us this morning, and also, of course, for our viewers back home, which will hopefully see this recording online. I think before we kick off the panel, I just wanted to especially mention our sponsors. Of course, things like this, not only for Namibia, but also for our other partners. Events like this, it's not really possible without the support of government, of course, but in particular the private sector. And so, as you can see on the screen here, of course, the EIF, which is the agency for the initiative, we be supporting them, but the Namibian Economic Board, Capital Foundation, Bank 50 RMB, Namibia, Brandon Partners, the Climate Fund Managers, Invest International, 91, Nigeria, Islamic Bank, UNDP, Namibia, and of course, also contribution by the Namibian Green Hydrogen Program. So thank you very, very much for your contributions. We appreciate every bit of it, and I think, as Benedict aptly said this morning, we're trying to go bigger and better every year. Certainly it's different from last year, but certainly next year we hope to improve further and even further. But maybe for us to kick off immediately in the interest of time, I would like to thank the panel for making themselves available this morning. Our discussion is about investment opportunities in the green economy, and in particular green hydrogen, export potential, but also, of course, the industries around this emerging sector. I would like to welcome Professor Bamidele Isu. He's from the African Hydrogen Partnerships. Please, we can join us at the front here. And you, thank you, sir. Mr. Edward Charles Karadzic, the President for Africa of FMI, Forestry and Future Industries. And of course, Benedict Verbanda, the the CEO of the Environmental Investment Fund. Hi. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here this morning. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your time. I see we're deploying the services of the ministry. We're thankful that you serve double duties. So maybe if we could kick off, I think, question one. What do you think makes, in one sentence, what makes Namibia unique as a place to recycle?
I'd have loved to answer it right now. But in one sentence, I think one is a enabling laws to attract and investments. And secondly, the world-class resource of wind and solar energy. So that makes one of the most attractive places, if not the attractive places in the world for green hydrogen investments. So that's so unique to the world. We've really put supporting legislation and policies to attract investments. One of such is the NDC. After the NDCs, it's got a target of about $50 billion in terms of investments need by 2030, of which 9 billion is mitigation, 6 million of regulation. But there's also the NDC, the implementation reflection plan, that really directs the country and also statements to the world prioritize sectors for investment. And that to itself it's a message to the international community, to the investors, that Namibia is ready for investment in industries. Now, moreover, we do have the carbon market framework, which is under development. This is about to be passed. Cabinet, so we expect that it should be decided on one and that will provide mechanism to manage and administer carbon market projects, speed the Ministry of Environment and Forest Technology. If you look at all these aspects, they have created an environment where we could execute and implement projects on it. That open doors for a new fund that is created, the SPG Namibia One, which is a blended financing platform that is geared towards investment in clean energy infrastructure. That started off as a partnership between the government of Namibia and the Dutch government. It was the environmental resource fund as well as climate fund managers as well as investment energy. If you look at the pipeline of that fund, it's about $22 billion worth of projects under that pipeline. And if we take into consideration the next scope of RFP and also the projects that have been incubating by the end of next year, that pipeline is likely to increase to 40 So this informs you that there is better ground depending on how you from when we see the CIA, it's more on the development environment, it's more on the attraction of the quality of the source and energy itself, more of the passion of the people that political support we see from principles. Those make the whole mix of attraction in terms of investment. And finally, when we look at the green hydrogen, we're not looking at the product itself, we're looking at industrialization. It's a green industrialization strategy that is currently being developed by the Green Hydrogen Program. And that will be able to crowd in value chains, crowd in different sizes of entities to participate, whether it's SMEs, whether it's large-scale investors, domestic finance, etc. So we look at the green revolution as a conveyor belt for development, for attracting and creating new industries, that will create employment, that will address poverty, that will address the inequalities that we're facing today. We don't have any idea what we started in Namibia. This is massive compared to any other sector that is emerged over the past 3-4 years. And Namibia has been bold enough to take a step towards aligning itself to be a global competitor of green hydrogen production. If we look at the other countries that we are competing with on a global level, like the USA, for example, they've got deeper pockets. They are able to provide subsidies for the sector, whereas in Namibia we need to be extremely innovative to maintain our global competitiveness in a number of ways. So there's a lot that we've taken on, and that is because of the bravery of our leaders, which is good. It's so exciting part of the movement. The aspects of industrialization are also very encouraging for the numbers that we've seen. So it's really a huge transformation of economy from what you see as the private investment plan. And it's something that Team Namibia should continue to support, to promote, because the green revolution will be extremely playing a huge role towards realizing our vision 2030 in the next 6 years.
Before we leave, may I just request the panel and the Honorable Minister and the Commissioner, I think is also here, to please take a group photo right here at the panel. The rest of us, we are free to go. Thank you very much. We see you at 12 o'clock for the next session, sponsored by RMB. Thank you very much. See you there.
Excited, especially after Kel Blue won the Sayed Award yesterday. It's something that we are extremely excited about. It's always nice to see an idea becoming a reality. And when we started this project about 4 years ago, we had to do a bit of research. We had to consult with a lot of people, particularly the people that are on our panel today. And together we developed the project. We started seating the first spores, I think that was last year, Caroline. And then this year we've got over 5 hectares of kelp growing offshore in Lutherans. So it is really something that we are very excited about. My name is Vivian Kinyaga. I am from Kel Blue, Namibia, a non-executive director, so providing a lot of strategic advice and guidance to the project. However, when we started the project for the first 2 years, I was very hands-on involved to make sure that we get the regulatory requirements right, that the project was fit for purpose, and I am really excited to be standing here today with all of you. Because we have such limited time, please allow me to observe protocol without necessarily calling the names of everyone who's in the room. You are all very welcome and we are excited to be with you here today. The purpose why we are here is to witness the signing of an MOU between Kel Blue and 3 of our important partners who've been walking this journey with us. We've got the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, We started with them from day one, getting all the advice on what we need to do. We've got the nature matrix. An important part of our project is to do marine monitoring, to make sure that we are able to demonstrate the environmental benefits that we are striving towards. That is to draw down carbon dioxide, to boost the biodiversity of the marine ecosystem, and then obviously we've got a very important economic and livelihood component as part of the project. So we are delighted to be partnering with Nature Matrix on the environmental monitoring side of things. Give an opportunity to our speakers to say something about this intensification that we have starting with this.
I'm honored to stand before you actually today and really extend my heartfelt congratulations to the company. You have done incredible work. I know when you knocked on our doors almost 3 years ago, our journey with you. Yes, came with bumps and lumps and all sorts of difficult things, but that's how you build a business at the end of it. We really hope that we continue to form part of your journey in Namibia, and as you hopefully expand your company globally and over the world, always carrying the pin of the Namibian flag. This accomplishment not only reflects the innovation and really the advanced thinking of the team, and also Daniel, that's unfortunately not here today. But we applaud your vision in particular, the fact that it's really advanced. It's an advancement of, like Mr. Thompson said, aquaculture, but an extraordinary effort to develop the food and the chemical industry, which is one of the key industries we're trying to develop, and to be not only a front runner locally or in the region, but internationally.
Also, congratulations to the Kelp Blue team, not just for last night, but for everything you've achieved in the last few years. I've known the team for a few years. I'm also on the board of Kelp Forest Foundation, so I've been following for a long time, and it's wonderful to see what's being achieved. My name's Kat Bruce. I'm the founder of Nature Matrix, which is one of the world's leading nature technology companies. When I started my company in 2015, investors asked, really, is there a business model in biodiversity? It's not really important enough for anything. And so it's been wonderful to watch over the last few years the whole world, including governments, the finance industry, and the business community, really wake up and realise that nature and biodiversity are at the heart of the solutions that we need for the world. And actually, if we can't measure it, we can't set goals and targets, and we can't measure how we're doing, we can't hold one another to account. So we're really excited to be part of this collaboration and to work on the project. We've been providing data on the Kelp Blue sites for some time. And I think for me, biodiversity, the coastal ecosystems are where we have the closest links between nature, climate and livelihoods. And really biodiversity sits right at the heart of that. We've often thought about investing in carbon and getting biodiversity co-benefits, and it's time we flip that narrative. We're investing in nature and we're getting all of these other benefits as the sort of co-benefits, including carbon, income streams, livelihoods, etc. So for me, data is not just about reporting. Reporting is really important, but actually it's also about two other things. One is management, and actually giving the information on the ground to be able to understand what's going on and understand how we can adapt the management so we can optimise the outcomes and make the best, most efficient use of the money that we have. And the other thing is about trust building. To achieve these sorts of things, we have to have really radical collaboration between stakeholders who don't have a history of working together, who don't have a lot of trust, who don't share a common language. And the data is about, if we can become that common language that the different stakeholders can come together around to build the trust and to get the flows of finance down onto the ground where it's needed and in the hands of people who know best what to do with it. So thank you so much to Namibia for not just putting all of these wonderful words about nature around the room and for putting that at the heart of the agenda, but actually for walking the walk as well as talking the talk. I think it's really an example for so many other nations. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me today, representing the Green Foundation. congratulations again to Club Blue. I think your win represents what I felt over the last couple of days, that the ocean is becoming more part of the conversations of these climate COPs. You may still physically be at the fringes. If anyone's been to the Ocean Pavilion, you'll know what I mean. But the conversation is definitely moving into the centre. Blue Marine, as Vivian said, has been working over the last few months with the Namibia Nature Foundation and other partners, and we're so proud and excited to be part of this coalition today. The 2.5% in the bond that is going towards effective implementation and monitoring of the MPA is such a good example of the way that innovative finance is really needed to channel the funding that we need to achieve effective 30 by 30 and achieve the coming Montreal goals and Paris Agreement simultaneously. So congratulations to all partners that have been involved, and thank you so much.
Everyone, now it's the moment that we've been waiting for to sign the MOU. As I said, the idea with the MOU is that all the signatories are committing to work together for us to be able to launch the blue bonds. The MOU is for 2 years, but we are hoping to launch these blue bonds by end of next year. And then secondly, importantly, what David just mentioned, the 2.5% that will be then invested into marine protected areas, the NUPA in Namibia. So we will then also be working together to unpack how we will spend that 2.5%. We know we want to focus on marine monitoring as well as education, but we will then be working together collectively to decide how we move forward. So let us sign the MOU. That's the moment we've been waiting for. Thank you for blessing the occasion, and we look forward to good, productive years to come. We will get together again at the end of the year when we go.
Is a signing ceremony for a memorandum of understanding between the Japanese Bank for International Cooperation and the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprise in Namibia. Quite a fundamental moment and quite significant for Namibia as a country to go forward in various aspects, specifically in hydrogen. So I'll hand over to our esteemed Ministry of Finance, as well as the government. So, a few words, and thereafter some ceremony.
Let me stand. Thank you very much, Scott, for directing these proceedings. And Governor and your delegation, we are very delighted that you're here. We are delighted because we are starting a new step in our relationship. Obviously, we just didn't start today. The fact that we're going to sign something is because there has been some work that was being done in the background of our teams, and what we are witnessing today is those are the fruits of this work. And we really want to um, thank you for making the time and for the willingness to work with Namibia. The memorandum of understanding that we are signing today, it's signaling the cooperation that we have with the people of Japan, but obviously the bank, of the Japanese Bank of International Cooperation, in particular representing the people of Japan, in the area of economic, environmental sustainability, and social sustainability. This is really a big theme. So we want to explore options to work together in technologies that will help to decarbonize the world, but also in particular our two countries. So this is an area that we are focused on as a country. Libya has got ambitions to decarbonize its own energy sector, but also more importantly to contribute to the globe or the countries of the world to reach net zero targets. So and therefore the relationship that we are studying today is going to contribute to that. So and therefore very happy to sign this memorandum of understanding together with you and your bank. So you may have one or two things to say, Governor, so I can identify over to you.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Minister. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Governor Hayashi of Japan Bank for International Cooperation, which supports Japanese citizenship. Some of you may be wondering why it's JB, why it's Namibia, and why it's at the COP. Well, we are very much impressed by the ambition that Namibia as a country has in terms of decarbonizing its economy. It needs a lot of investments, a lot of efforts, and a lot of change of behavior by the people and by the industries. We are to support Japanese business, but through that we want to support Namibia's sound and sustainable development, as well as global public goods, especially decarbonizing the world, the African continent, as well as for better social life for the people of Namibia and the region. So we hope that while we very much commend all our staff and your ministry as well as our bank, we believe that this is just the beginning of our long-term relationship, supporting the decarbonization project or green hydrogen and ammonia project, and also supporting mineral project, which your country is very much in. We have done so many projects in Africa in terms of infrastructure, energy, or manufacturing. In the neighboring countries like South Africa, Mozambique, or in Angola, especially Namibia, who are very close to you. But unfortunately, we have done very little in your countries. And it's quite encouraging thinking of the potential of your economy, good governance, and the sound fiscal and monetary policy that you have pursued. So we very much want to celebrate ourselves and commend ourselves for this event, but promise to work closely with you to realize a project between us, which is very good for your country, for Japanese economy, but also for the global world. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, and thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so here we go. One of the two. So if you move first, I will go through
Yeah.
if I move exactly. Yeah. So I didn't know you. Yes, yes.
Some technical difficulties. So my name is Ron Weesby. I'm heading up the sustainability function of Capricorn Group. But before I want to start, I just want to acknowledge the presence of our ministers. Thank you very much for taking the time to join this panel discussion. We are looking forward to your questions again. And I'm also proud to be positioned with this esteemed panel of industry experts from multiple disciplinaries, multiple countries, representing organizations, multinational organizations. So I can clearly see that there is going to be a dynamic discussion, and everyone in around the room will definitely learn something new today. So yes, I mentioned, so very proud to present this very relevant and intriguing topic of unpacking the global best practices for ESG and sustainability reporting. As we all know, it's definitely a hot topic for all the industries as well as the private sector to start reporting on their responses to ESG and sustainability risks and opportunities. As we all know that the effects of climate change, our reliance on environmental resources, the degradation of the social cohesion, unethical business practices has become a business and household reality, and we are all compelled and have a shared responsibility to respond to these ESG-related risks and opportunities. So, with no further ado, I think I would like to provide an opportunity for my panelists to maybe just provide some background on the professional profile, also the organizations that they represent, as well as their role in the organization. I think you will clearly see that when they start presenting, they've got a vast amount of expertise and relatively balanced views, both from the private sector as well as the new giga scale projects that we are very excited to know more about. So without further ado, I maybe ask Reem to maybe introduce yourself, and yeah, let's get this conversation started.
Thank you, Rowan. Thanks for the invitation to talk to the panel. Yes, my name is Rita Shree. I head up strategy and innovation and brand at Bank, Pan-African Investment Bank. So in Namibia, we also have operations around Africa. As part of my portfolio, I drive Namibian strategy, and sustainability. So as the link between us and group is driving the ESG frameworks, sustainable finance, developing the market in India as well. And then what I also like to call my side hustle is that I participate a lot of policy research, policy formulation calls in India.
Six key being ministers. Thank you. My name is Michael Silvasco. I've been S&P Global. Spent the last 25 years working in financial markets, a large part working with organisations to help them through their sustainability journey, learn where they are, where they begin, how early they are, how advanced they are, and more. At S&P Global, a great opportunity to do that. Our organisation has sustainability solutions across a broad part of the economy. We have 5 divisions that work with our clients on sustainability goals. Those include market intelligence and data, the goals billions of data points on companies' financials, as well as their asset and data, and this is a new. Many of you will be familiar with our ratings business, credit ratings business. Credit ratings is also incorporated in the industry factors where they're relevant to ratios, credit rating. And the index business as well has large exposure through the S&P 500, main investors, but also sustainability indices. more about how companies get into those sustainability initiatives capital through investment. The other two divisions also have sustainability offerings that may be less well known, depending on what part of the market. On the next slide, the commodity insights business provides commodity research and pricing benchmarking as a large part of the world's commodities. Commodity benchmarking pricing is used features and derivatives pricing, also and today's exposure. The last part of their work is energy transition. One of the key themes of this conference is transition. In fact, the three themes that I see in this conference are transition, transition, and transition. Because it's the three transition. And the last part of the business is coastal mobility. Mobility has strong ties. Climate change, energy transition, transport. So the research on where companies are being reduced, where companies are being sold, what forecasts companies, whether that's battery electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, or internal combustion engines. You bring all of those solutions together. That's my role, is to bring them together. So we work with clients, whether those clients are governments, whether they're banks, whether they're institutions, the largest ambassadors, all of the smallest fund managers, the largest companies, and the smallest companies across all sectors. They're trying to integrate sustainability through what those businesses are. So that opportunity, finishing on opportunities is a good segue to the
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Ministers, first, my name is Tony Davis. I am the Strength of Alliance Project. Libya, legal background, really
you don't need regulation in the country in order to start the journey of sustainability. The question needs to be asked of the organisation, why? Why is sustainability important? And sustainability needs to move beyond the just checkbox approach that one person in the organisation is responsible and hired to do. Sustainability is an organisation-wide need. Every department in an organisation has a role to play in trying to sustainability. That organisation's sustainability is achieving the best possible practice. What's the best possible practice? Given my role working across Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa, working with countries from New Zealand all the way across to Turkey, I see a wide range of what that country's expectations are, practices are on sustainability. And I often get asked the question, should we localise the sustainability practices to account for what that country is capable of doing? Or should we apply a global best practice standard? And if you think about that question, by saying you will change the standards, lower the standards from global best practice to apply to your country's current position, you're saying your current position is good enough. Where is the incentive to improve? You're also accepting that a lower level of human rights, of protection from water, of pollution, of human capital development, governance at lower levels than these practices are acceptable. And then you need to ask, are you sending the right message?
We have those protections in Article 95 of the Constitution. We have all of the environmental legislation that flows from it. We have our national plans, NDP 6, and then we have Harambe, and all of that ties back to the SDGs. And the SDGs are embedded in this too. So if any organization is confused or doesn't know where to start, then you align yourself with achieving NDP, Harambe, and that will set you in motion. So I think there's different levels of coordination. There's a fantastic role to play in producing that consistency that we need in the industry.
but it has to be, when we talk about ESG, it has to be
Question. You're all here today, so really raise your hand and maybe just ask any one of the panelists if you have any burning questions around the topic, want to understand a specific aspect of it more in detail. Please, the floor is open.
Right. My name is Priscilla Mundilo. I am the Environment and Social Safety Specialist for the Namibian Nature Foundation. And my question is really around how ESG is really good. It's an excellent approach to sustainability. But what incentive models are being applied to ensure that we drive sustainable projects? Looking at the markets, there are no cost reduction incentives associated with thematic bonds such as the green bonds, the sustainability bonds, and investors are still really expecting market-related returns. So how do we ensure that financial resources are driving sustainability and that they are incentivized to encourage and take that will hit the needed impact? Thank you very much.
Oh, that's a very good question. So I don't know if there's anyone of you that both will tackle
ironically, we just discussed it this morning around just what we call the premium on financial instruments. And typically, so if I start broad, right, in the global north, we see that, the financial instruments being green bonds, green loans, social bonds, social loans, they've been in existence for a while now. And at the beginning of the journey, corporates were incentivized to do a pricing benefit that was passed to the issuer. Because the instrument has become actually basically like a traditional financial instrument, like what we call vanilla, that financial benefit has faded over time. But in the African context, we see the concept of the greenium actually still holds. So issuers are still given a transfer pricing benefit to incentivize them to issue or to raise green or social debt. Because it's still something that, except for the South African market, the majority of African countries are still trying to get a grasp over, and we need to incentivize them, we need to walk the journey with them. So we do see that the pricing benefit still holds in the African continent.
So, welcome to the session on the Green Corridor and Green Digitization. As you have heard the President of Kenya yesterday talking about green industrialization and shaping the new narrative to implement the concept and values of just energy transition. And this is a new narrative for us, not a new narrative for media as we discussing to make sure that we will leverage energy transition to industrialization. And to do that, there might be a project the expertise needed to define that strategy requires a lot of knowledge and experience and research. This session will try to highlight some of the key factors that Namibia is relying on to define their strategy.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. It's really honored, delighted to be here on this occasion. The Mass McKinney Center for Zero Carbon Shipping was established about 3 years ago on a philanthropic donation. And the overall objective is to help accelerate the transition of shipping towards sustainable shipping. And the question at that time was how to do that in the most effective way, given the economic condition, acknowledging that a lot of individual activities are going on with both the public sector and governments and also the private sector and companies investing in innovation, R&D and so on, which was to contribute to such an ecosystem. And the decision was to establish a center to become a collaboration platform for public, private parties of that ecosystem, of that system, to bring these parties together to co-create a vision of sustainable shipping to create pathways of how to get there, and then also to work into the details of concepts and solutions of the future. And some of those concepts and solutions, they are sort of on components of the system. So that will be demonstrated, for example, how we produce new fuels, or how we maintain safety of the new fuels, or how we do life cycle analysis of the new systems and solutions. But one important element in that was to demonstrate how that new system connects and becomes a system. And that activity we call the Green Corridor. So the Green Corridor activity is a portfolio of projects with us. We have about 6 of them. That is where we connect country policies to onshore energy developments, to onshore industrial developments, to the ports, to the shipping activity, which is where we have our base and focus, and to the cargo volumes.
You need to start with some specific locations. Something is going to happen everywhere. That's precisely the vision that drives us. We set up about 5 years ago something like Mission Possible Partnership that started with the sector level. One of the pathways towards net zero fields were aluminium or cement, and for shipping and for aviation, and for heavy transport. And obviously you see green hydrogen cutting across many of these industries. We're very hard through MVP to support some green shipping corridors, particularly in Asia. But there's also a lot of Rotterdam, Yesterday, the president of the COP28 launched the industrial transition. It's going on. And the Mission Possible Partnership that we set up is secretary. To connect what we're doing, and to connect and to highlight the efforts that Namibia is doing. And that's what we've been trying to do since we started working together 2 years ago or so. It's been 2 years. Started by thinking about what could you utilize this strategy be from Namibia, so we helped put together some of the analysis of models, etc. Supporting Namibia also in exchange with potential project partners. And what is clear now is that this is really just the beginning. And you said at the outset that this is obviously about making Namibia zero carbon. It's a much bigger than this. It's for Namibia to become the source of energy for many other countries that that might also need some of the power. Now I click this back today. And I love the particular division of the shipping corridor because that's equivalent to 4 5 years I was given a tour of the normal state. And it was just remarkable to see the new docks being constructed. One level transport links up into Angola, across into Botswana, beyond to Zambia, south, from Woolwich into South Africa. And I think a lot of the traffic that currently is coming from Namibia should be coming to Wolf. But if you can lay out a green hydrogen, it really becomes a very compelling proposition.
It was amazing to listen to our vision just being told through different lenses. And I think that's very important for the Namibian people, but also for everyone else around the world, because when African governments got together and put together Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, it's essentially this, right? It's industrialization in a sustainable manner, in a way that leads to gross capital fixed formation, jobs, and quality jobs at that, and really impacting inequality. Right? It's something we've always wanted to do. But now what we're doing as African governments and as African leaders is we're getting into the nitty-gritties. We're going to do pre-feasibility studies. We're going to look at the socioeconomic modeling of these particular industries. And so in Namibia 2021, really when we started this journey, the president put out his socioeconomic manifesto for his last term. And in the economic advancement pillar, goal number 3, the first activity says that Namibia is going to champion green economy and new economy as a catalyst for economic recovery in Namibia. And I think at the time, everyone was sort of struggling to say, what does that mean? And just actually a day ago, Kelp won the Zayed Sustainability Award. They won $600,000 from the Zayed family for having essentially one of the most innovative blue economy projects in the world. And they're going to use underwater kelp. Of course, this sequestrates a lot of carbon, and they're going to, essentially grow that and sell it off to Nestle, and they're going to raise $4 million, Namibian dollars worth of blue bonds. This will be the first blue bond in Africa to finance their project. And this is exactly what the President was envisioning in September 2020 on the 75th United Nations General Assembly, when he said, Namibia wants to change the structure of its economy like this. And we're going to use innovative financial tools to do that, like green bonds. And we want it to link with African R&D, which is a lot of the work that Systemic is going to help us do. So fast forward 2 years later, what we realize is what we want to do is bigger than Namibia. We will need the EU to buy the ammonia that N5 and Hyphen make. We will need Mars and MSC to buy the green ammonia or methanol that we will make in Namibia, right? And start using that in the investment. And so along the way, we started cultivating a habit of strategic partnerships, whether it's with private sector players like Systemic or domestic Water Center for Zero Carbon Shipping, or indeed our own multilateral banks like the African Development Bank, which is why Gary is sitting here. We reached out to the AFDB and they really helped us accumulate world-class experts to help us think about how we build a green hydrogen ecosystem. And so through that partnership, which we call economic diplomacy, green economic diplomacy, which is essentially the fifth pillar of HPP2, we've been able to engage the Japanese government, the EU government, and we started building this ecosystem. And as we mentioned, Namibia, for example, always had the vision to be a logistics hub for Africa. So we sort of received around 1,600 vessels at peak between Lüderitz and Walvis Bay. We're looking at 168,000 containers and about 6.5 million tons of cargo, which is good, but it's not as big as it can be. But with that activity, which is what we're going to try and map in terms of decarbonization, we enable the Zambian market to access the global market for their copper. We will, if we do this well, we will debottleneck South Africa's ability to export its excess manganese from the Northern Cape and its zinc and some of its potentially even some of its iron ore. And in fact, we may add value to that iron ore in Namibia. So what we're trying to do, as Guido was mentioned, was not just industrialize Namibia, but provide Southern Africa with the various inputs they need to really sort of level out their industrialization activity. And then, of course, by doing that in a low carbon way, we can attract strategic concessionary capital, right, that reduces the burden of us and our neighbors in terms of our fiscal liabilities. So, guided sort of a mix, right, of financing, infrastructure, R&D, and then partnerships in terms of the offtakes. And putting that ecosystem together will require, if I'm honest, intellectual capital beyond the Namibian government's ability to deploy Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, which is why these strategic LOI, for example, that we're going to be executing today, the Center for Zero Carbon Shipping from Denmark, is super important because it brings know-how that Namibia doesn't want, but that Namibia needs in order to be of service to its people and of course our neighbors as well. And that's why I'm very excited to really get going with the work, I think, in 20. So how you communicate that vision becomes very, very, very important. And we're working with some clients, by the way, who are dabbling in both. But people like Total, who are saying, I'm very excited about the hydrocarbons and I'm spending half of my capex, right, my global exploration capex to find oil in Namibia. But if you give me an opportunity, I would love to heavily get involved in the green hydrogen side and to produce some of the synthetic fuels. How do you communicate that to your people, but also to the global community? So it's one of the things the green hydrogen program will be really trying to step up next year. And let's be honest, we're going to be learning on the job. We don't know everything, which is why we're trying to find the right friends and partners. And to be honest, again, I keep on talking about the AFTB. I think entities like the AFTB are going to need to be critical in defining the soul of Africans today and where we need to go, right? Decoding between like this narrative and noise and facts. How much money can we mobilize for what? If you're building a transmission line, at what cost? If you're building a gas to power plant, who's going to fund that? The EME won't fund it. But will the Japanese bank for an international corporation fund it? Possibly. Right? So those conversations we're going to need help with, Gandhi, and that's what we're so happy that you're here. You're helping to moderate the session, but you know, working with everyone else that we're working with, we're going to have to figure that out together. And we have to find a fair way of doing this. Because you couldn't possibly say to Namibia, don't dig up the hydrocarbons, but you're fracking in Alaska or in Texas or something like that. It just doesn't make sense. And by the way, I think the US permitted like oil sort of exploration a few months ago in Alaska. And the biggest narrative they wrote in their statement when they were interviewing people was it's great for employment. The US has like 3% unemployment. It's a factor of 10 compared to where we are. So what do you do with that communication narrative? So we have some work to do, but it's a way to say that it'll be very exciting. And I think as Namibia, we just have to be humble about it. And then one last thing maybe I'd love to say about this is we're trying to develop this project with Hyphen today, and we are learning a lot on the job, right? So they have to go into the park and build just, for example, met masts. But the amount of time it takes to go into that park, because it's a downward protected area, the amount of fiscal resources that are needed from our Ministry of Environment and Tourism to put petrol in our cars to go with them is insane compared to what we were doing before, right? And so there's this reality check as well about how do you transform the town of Lüderitz into an economic hub that is arguably going to host the whole country's GDP in this little town, and the town council doesn't even yet have a CEO, or they're looking for a CEO. And so, you know, here at COP28, maybe the best kept secret is we're going to have to convene a strategic meeting between our key ministers, some of our partners, you know, away from cameras, and just sit and really sketch out what 2024 must look like, not what it can look like, what it must look like, for us to be able to deliver this narrative, I think, to people. Let's get to work, everyone. Thank you so much.
My name is George Feather. I am the WFP World Food Program representative to Namibia since 2020. WFP's mandate in Namibia is around three main pillars. One is supporting the government and the communities of Namibia to transform its food systems to be sustainable and provide resilient livelihoods. Number two is to ensure that the rural economy is stimulated by introducing solutions around financial support and financial literacy, as well as new economic growth patterns for the community to be able to derive income and support their livelihoods. And lastly is how social protection, which includes a climate angle, can support communities in Namibia, especially around scaling up jobs and women empowerment. Across these three pillars, the biggest part of it will be building digital literacy, as well as gender-related solutions that mostly support women in business. So that's mainly our mandate, working closely with the government, private sector, and a lot of community-based structures. The reason that I am keen to be at the COP, and I appreciate the government of Namibia introducing at the COP my participation, and I thank the government of Namibia for supporting my accreditation to this COP, is around the food, climate, water, and energy nexus, because those are the underpinning factors of our proper and sustainable food system. And Namibia progresses and expands its energy, renewable energy industry, we get those benefits to the community down at village level. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the what after, what next from these COP discussions, and from all the connections, the linkages, the networks that we made, and the plans that the government has to align that to what WFP is trying to do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deborah Walliser. I'm the CEO and founder of Got Produce Global Brands. We're a hydroponic technology company focused on food security globally. We started developing hydroponic technology as a spin-off from NASA, original NASA technology from the International Space Station. And if we can grow plants on space, why can't we be better at growing them on Earth? So this company has focused on providing food production centers around the world. This is my first time at COP. I came with an agenda to meet other people in the food security space. Sustainable food production, I think, is top of mind for many of the delegates here. We're working on a number of projects that require private and public funding, and this seems to be the place to syndicate those kind of discussions. So after about a week of COP, some days I'm really hopeful, some days I'm left scratching my head going, oh my gosh, how can we ever talk to each other? And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I saw was kind of the communication gap. Everybody is trying to do something in their own way, in their own power to be sustainable or to create a change. And I think sometimes we hit walls because we don't know who else is out there doing it, who's the best partner. And I think COP was really good in providing a platform for those dialogues, just physically meeting people that you wouldn't ordinarily meet, and say, hey, do you know somebody who can do this? Or, on another panel, maybe you find people who are doing it. And I think just that dialogue and collaboration is the most important piece of this, of our goals. But, for us in Namibia, this was a fantastic opportunity to come to the world stage and get our projects done.
My name is Aina Maria Iteta. I work for the Environmental Investment Fund as an executive for business strategy and performance management. We are at COP, where at this juncture I would say for Namibia I deal more with gender issue. I serve as a national gender focal person for the UNFCCC, and it has been interesting at COP, especially when it comes to issues of gender mainstreaming, inclusivity. It's actually the main language for this COP. Of course, we are at COP28, of course, with the main ultimate goal of addressing issues of climate change. When it comes to gender participation, we have noted that according to the GST report, we have made a very minimum progress of 5% for the past 10 years. It is something to note, but definitely not encouraging, especially from my position as a national gender focal point, to say that the past 10 years we have only made an increase of 5% from 30% to 35% for this COP. We can do better, definitely with reference to the Paris Agreement Article 7, the commitment of the RIMA work program on gender, of course SDG 5, where we are all making higher level commitment to address the issues of research, especially from the COP president. We are kind of having more hope. He have created hope in a sense that there are some commitments towards gender inclusivity, especially issues of financial matters that we have been having gender action plans. However, there are no financial resources attached to such initiatives. So the message really is to move from gender responsiveness in terms of creating sense. All right, so what we are saying is that the message from the COP president is to say parties have to be responsible, especially when it comes to the inculcation of gender action. We are moving from creating gender awareness, gender sensitive kind of talk towards creating gender responsive initiatives that are embedded in our NDCs, that are embedded in our NAPs, so that our interventions are actually targeted, focused in terms of empowering our women and making sure that the gender constituency, which is part of the 9 constituency of the UN family, is actually addressing the issues of inclusivity. Equity, we need to address the issues of the unequal distribution of resources, gender parity issues. We cannot continue ignoring the fact that women, as much as science, research have actually provided that women are the most vulnerable society and segment of the population when it comes to climate change. The point is, we need financial products that are earmarked to empower activities that are focusing on women to transform their livelihood.
Firstly, thank you very much for everyone being here this morning, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be a panelist. As we all know, green hydrogen holds a significant promise for Namibia's export market, primarily due to its abundant natural resources. Namibia possesses vast renewable energy resources, in particular solar and wind. Of course, for reasons of economic diversification, and as we mentioned during earlier sessions this week, Namibia has traditionally held a very strong position in the agriculture and mining sector, and we are definitely trying to move away from these primary sectors and developing sectors that allow us to develop more secondary products. And of course, the global demand for green energy is really, for clean energy rather, is really driving huge volumes, not only from Africa but also other parts of the world. And yes, naturally, the geopolitical advantages, our strategic location, and the access to shipping routes to other potential markets, global markets.
And so I think we will need to navigate this environment where we still see a lot of appetite and interest from off-takers, but ultimately there is a compression that is going on between your remuneration that used to be and the price. price at which you can offload your product. So ultimately the equity is being squeezed out of it. Having said this, I think we see a lot of growing appetite for certain products. I think the industry is going to be more focused on lower hanging fruit and things that have a drop-in application. So in our case, our project is focusing on green ammonia for transportation in the shipping space, as well as some heating. And the fertilizer industry is where we see it. But it's, again, more that rather than think about cracking back, because you add complexity. I think one point that we were chatting about with Marco earlier, try to be simple and use existing technologies is the recipe for where we as developers need to focus. Because the niche in the beginning will be a little bit uphill, and then it will be a ramp up.
Definitely, in the absence of some of the support and data that we need, we start and that's put a bit of pressure to selection of others, and it does create, I guess, at least for ourselves, an opportunity for issue whereby we find ourselves, at least we found ourselves engaging far and wide. But as we operate these various iterations, especially together with engineers, we're trying to have various selections of identifying areas of use to engage to run these various processes as mentioned.
Europe has taken a more ideological approach to green industrialization. Germany's actually a big step in its legislation by setting net zero by 2045. That's not a suggestion, that's an obligation that's enshrined in law. Then you have Korea and Japan that are large industrialized nations that trade into the European bloc that are going to have barriers placed at the border for their imports into those geographies. So they have to decarbonize for different reasons. Yes, they also want to achieve net zero for sustainability, but they've also got a more of an economic imperative that drives their immediate needs. And logistically, Namibia is very well suited to serve out any of those three markets. And if you look at the resource advantage of the South ahead, the area where our project is located, any shipping differential is more than overcompensated by the pure resource advantage. So there isn't a geographic penalty for Namibia trading into the Asian markets. But who will be first, how those markets will mature, is ultimately going to depend around the mobilization of funding and the carrots and sticks that are put in place in order to incentivize the energy transition. I think what's plainly clear for everybody at this point in time is that we are way behind our energy goals. So Europe wants 20 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. If they get to a tenth of that, I think they're going to go on the current trajectory. Very, very hard what the world is trying to do. If you then look at regionally, and I think the first projects will be export focused, we work very hard to try and build a regional supplier base. And the area where we located, there isn't a lot of industry. It's effectively a marine industry. So looking at deployment of hydrogen into the port environment is one of our longer term aspirations, as well as technology around rail, which is where it's a heavy use case for hydrogen. And we are working with technology, with partners up in the north, with Cleanergy as a supplier of hydrogen to a rail technology business in order to develop a dual fuel, diesel and hybrid power locomotive. And there's been some delays in that project linked to some of the funding delays on just with SASCOL and just the process that they need to go through. But shareholders are going to go ahead with that project regardless of whether that funding comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for our panel. Thank you for joining us. We will kick off with the next session in about 45 minutes. Hang around, stay tuned, and until next time.
Gentlemen, good morning. And Ursula, to start with you, can you just give us your thoughts around what a off-chain mechanism that agreement would look like in the context of the nature of large-scale hydrogen projects?
Well, good morning, everybody. It's a very nice little crowd, right? I think we all know each other, almost. But I think the off-take discussion is very actual and very urgent, right? Important. It's a bit funny to discuss this without government people on a panel because I'm running a private company. Okay, it's a state-owned enterprise, but still it's a private company. So I'm not representing the Dutch government in any way, right? Make that clear. Yeah, so it's the elephant in the room, right? Everybody is working on their projects. I've been talking with developers in Egypt, in Morocco, in South Africa, in Kazakhstan, in Namibia, and everybody is like, where's the offtake? Huh? Everybody is worried about that Europe is slowing down on its offtake. And I think it's true, it is slowing down on its offtake, right? So we just have to deal with that. That's the one thing. The number two is governments don't buy molecules, right? It's the private sector that buys the molecules. So how does an offtake contract look like? Well, we all know how it looks like, right? But I guess you're referring to what can governments do to get it going.
Well, it's ultimately going to depend around the mobilization of funding and the carrots and sticks that are put in place in order to incentivize the energy transition. I think what's plainly clear for everybody at this point in time is that we are way behind our energy goals. So Europe wants 20 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. If they get to a tenth of that, I think they're going to go on the current very, very hard. What the world is trying to do. If you then look at regionally, and I think the first projects will be export focused, but we work very hard to try and build a regional supplier base. And the area where we located, there isn't a lot of industry. It's effectively the marine industry. So looking at deployment of hydrogen into the port environment is one of our longer term aspirations, as well as technology around rail, which is where it's a heavy use case for hydrogen. And we are working with technology with partners up in the north, with Cleanergy as a supplier of hydrogen to a rail technology business in order to develop a dual fuel, diesel and hydrogen locomotive. And there's been some delays in that project linked to some of the funding delays on just with SASCO and just the process that they need to go through. But shareholders are going to go ahead with that project regardless of whether that funding comes. If you had to boil that down to a nutshell, the wealthy global north that are the current large carbon emitters will go first because they've got the financial resources to pay for a premium expensive product at the start of a cost downward trajectory, and then in the medium to long term, when pricing has fallen, the decarbonisation of Southern African energy systems becomes the next market, I think, for living.
Thank you very much. We'll kind of touch again on the domestic market or the regional market in a second. But Sandra, I was wondering how Namibia has been positioning itself, but also at the same time where we kind of fit into the global space. What should we be doing to get further leg up? So you mentioned competition and partnerships. These things also play a very important role. But also as a country, we need to be cognizant of our space in the industry. What is your view on our current positioning, and what do you think we can do better?
I think you've done amazingly well if I look at what other African countries and more in general have done. So, but I think you're right, there is some push that still needs to happen. I think you start from an important position when it comes to the EU. We all think EU is going to be an important demand center for green molecules. You have an MOU, I think, pushing harder and or continue to push with the Commission. Of course, there will be elections election, so there will be a new commission coming in position next year on trying to really be more focused on how the policies should target sectors. Because the industry will really start with a greater focus on matching industries that are more in need to decarbonize with funding. And all of the incentive schemes that have been discussed are all more trying to stimulate the production. But if Europe really wants to get the 10 million tons, which was mentioned before, which probably is going to end up being 50, because there is not going to be enough local production in Europe, you really need to push.
I would like to start by giving our gratitude and appreciation to Namibia House, to the Namibian Pavilion, for making this valuable discussion possible. And it will be powered by different representations from different countries and organizations. So thank you very much for your attendance as well. So we are slowly starting our discussion, and basically we will be addressing the needs of carbon market readiness in African continent by hearing the voices, the opinions from different experts representing valuable organizations, including International Carbon Registry, which is a voluntary carbon market standard that has been boomed in the last 2 years, let's say, and its CEO, its co-CEO, Gudmundur Sigbergsson, will be with us today to address the VCM perspective of carbon market readiness in Africa. And then we will be, but it's not an alignment, but we will be also welcoming Sherry Ombia, representing Perspectives Climate Group, to power the event with a perspective of Article 6.2 readiness, and finally implementation and its potential implications in Africa. And also we have Pedro Venzo, representing International Emission Trading Association, to correlate our discussion, to design our discussion around Article 6.2 readiness. So I would like to start with my intro presentation, representing the company called Climate Balanced. I'm working as Chief Executive Officer in this company to hold this event as part of Namibia House schedule. The main reason behind our motivation points out to a dilemma that has been unfortunately raised by the COPs in the history. So in this chart, you can see that many COPs have been completed with a stable increasing trend in the global CO2 equivalent concentration in the atmosphere. So we have already put more two COPs in this chart. I think that this chart should be also revised. So unfortunately the COPs have not served for the purpose, and we are expecting too much. There are several agenda points, and as a carbon market potential, I was by sharing a motto that Dubai, give my Article 6 please. So this is why we have drafted our discussion as part of today's side event around carbon market readiness in Africa. So basically, carbon market readiness will be correlated to the needs behind the evolution from Kyoto Protocol to Paris Agreement. So we have seen what carbon markets were by the outcomes of Kyoto Protocol many years ago. And to be honest, and all of us can easily address that. The design has not been conducted very well at that time by putting responsibilities only on developed nations. But it seems that we need all parties to, rise this collective action together, including carbon market implementation as well. So then you my gratitude to our audiences. I mean, we have been filling the whole room, and in parallel to this, of course, to our speakers. Without you, we couldn't have this chance to circulate the discussion around carbon market readiness in Africa. Thank you very much once again. So climate balance has been operating in last 4 COP summits, and as this year, I hope that we will be having another discussion in COP29 that will be announced very soon, I guess. Thank you very much.